I need to tell someone what I did, and you're going to think I'm terrible, but there's something about testing someone's loyalty that nobody understands until they've been in my position. Everyone's calling me toxic and manipulative now, and maybe they're right, but they don't know the real reason I did it. They don't know what I was actually looking for when I decided to flirt with his best friend. The worst part about what happened isn't that I hurt him. It isn't even that I lost him. It's that I got exactly the answer I was testing for, and now I have to live with the fact that I destroyed the best relationship I ever had just to prove I was right about something I desperately wanted to be wrong about. If I don't tell this story, you'll never understand why I'm still checking my phone 3 months later, hoping he'll break his silence. But once you know what I know, you'll see why I convinced myself I had no choice. This isn't just about a stupid test gone wrong. It's about a fear so deep inside me that I've been sabotaging every good thing in my life since I was 16 years old, and I didn't even realize it until it was too late. I'm going to tell you everything, including the part where I took it way further than I ever planned to. And the part that makes me look worst? I'm saving that for later because you need to understand where this all started first. You need to know about my parents, about Jake, about every relationship that taught me that love is conditional and men always leave when something better comes along. His name was Marcus, and when I met him I was convinced he was too good to be true. We matched on a dating app last April and his first message was actually thoughtful. Not hey or some gross pickup line, but a genuine question about a book I'd mentioned in my profile. We texted for 3 days before meeting up, and when we finally did, he looked exactly like his photos. Already a good sign. I'd been burned by enough bad angles and 5-year-old pictures to appreciate honesty. Our first date lasted 6 hours. We got coffee, walked around the city, grabbed dinner because neither of us wanted it to end, then sat in his car talking until midnight. He told me about his job as a physical therapist, about his family, about how he'd been single for 8 months after a 2-year relationship ended. I told him the edited version of my story, the one where I'm unlucky in love but not damaged goods. I didn't tell him that my dad left when I was 15 for a woman 10 years younger. I didn't mention that my college boyfriend cheated on me with my roommate. I definitely didn't bring up Jake, who I dated for 18 months and who told me he loved me right up until the day I found out he'd been sleeping with his coworker for 3 of those months. Marcus kissed me goodnight, asked when he could see me again, and texted me before I even got home to say he'd had an amazing time. It felt like a fairy tale, which should have been my first clue. Fairy tales aren't real. We fell into a relationship so easily it scared me. He introduced me to his friends after 3 weeks. His best friend Daniel and his girlfriend Emma became our regular double-date companions. We'd go to breweries, have game nights, take weekend trips. Marcus would hold my hand under the table and look at me like I was the only person in the room. That's when the thoughts started. Small ones at first, just little whispers. This is too perfect. He's too attentive. What's the catch? I'd watch him laugh with Daniel and wonder if he compared me to other women. I'd see him like some girl's Instagram photo and spend an hour analyzing whether she was prettier than me. When he didn't text back right away, I'd construct elaborate scenarios about what he was really doing. My therapist, the one I'd been seeing on and off since the Jake disaster, called it hypervigilance. Said I was looking for threats that weren't there because I'd been blindsided before. She said I was operating from a trauma response, constantly scanning for danger to protect myself from being hurt again. I told her she was overthinking it. I was just being realistic. Everyone says they're loyal until they're tested, right? By month 4, Marcus was talking about me meeting his parents. He'd started leaving a toothbrush at my place, keeping spare clothes in my closet. He told me he was falling in love with me one night after we did wine and watched the sunset from my balcony. He said it quietly, almost like he was afraid of scaring me off, and when I said it back, I meant it. That's what made it so much worse. I loved him. Really loved him, and that's exactly why I needed to know if he'd stay. The idea came to me during one of our group hangouts. We were at Daniel and Emma's place playing Cards Against Humanity and drinking too much. Emma had gotten up to get more snacks, and Daniel made some joke about Marcus being completely whipped now. Marcus just laughed and said something about how being whipped was just what people called it when you actually liked spending time with your girlfriend. Daniel rolled his eyes good-naturedly. Yeah, just wait until the honeymoon phase ends and you remember what hot girls look like. He said it as a joke. Everyone laughed, including Marcus, who threw a pillow at him. But I didn't laugh. I sat there, wine glass frozen halfway to my lips, feeling like someone had poured ice water down my spine. Because that was the thing, wasn't it? The honeymoon phase always ends, and when it does, people start looking around. My dad did, Jake did. What made Marcus different? You okay? Marcus asked me later on the drive home. You got quiet after Daniel made that stupid comment. I'm fine, I lied, just tired. He reached over and squeezed my hand. You know I'm not like that, right? I'm not interested in anyone else. I'm all in with you. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly, but wanting something doesn't make it true. My mom wanted my dad to stay. I wanted Jake to be faithful. Wanting means nothing against someone else's choices. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay next to Marcus, listening to him breathe, and spiraled. I thought about all the ways he could hurt me, all the times he'd be around other women without me there. How easy it would be for him to develop feelings for someone else, someone less anxious, less damaged, less exhausting to be with. I needed to know if he'd passed the test, if he was really as loyal as he claimed, or if he was just waiting for something better. The thought felt logical at 3 a.m, lying there in the dark with my heart racing. If he really loved me, if he really was different, he'd shut down any advances immediately. He'd prove it. And then I could relax, then I could trust him. I wish I could say the idea came to me all at once, fully formed. But it didn't. It grew slowly, feeding on my insecurity and fear until it felt not just reasonable but necessary. It started small. I began paying attention to how Marcus interacted with other women. The barista who flirted with him when we got coffee. His coworker who texted him about non-work stuff sometimes. The girl at his gym who always seemed to need help with the same equipment he was using. He was friendly but never inappropriate. He mentioned me in conversation naturally, never hiding that he had a girlfriend. He showed me texts when I asked, never defensive about it. By every objective measure, he was exactly what he claimed to be, a good guy who was committed to our relationship. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, that this was all an act, and eventually the real Marcus would appear, the one who would do what everyone else had done. Just when I thought I might be able to let it go, might be able to trust what was right in front of me, Emma said something that sent me spiraling again. We were getting drinks, just the two of us, while Marcus and Daniel watched a basketball game. Emma was on her third margarita and feeling chatty. "You know what I love about you and Marcus," she said, leaning in conspiratorially. "You're not all insecure and jealous like some girls. Like I know girls who lose it if their boyfriend even talks to another woman." I forced a smile. "Yeah, well, I trust him." "Good," she said, nodding enthusiastically. "Because honestly, Marcus is like a total catch. Daniel says girls hit on him all the time at the gym and at work, but Marcus never even notices. He's obsessed with you." She meant it as a compliment, as reassurance. Instead, it felt like confirmation of my worst fears. Girls hit on him all the time, all the time. And sure, he didn't notice now, but what about in 6 months? A year? What about when I got comfortable and stopped trying as hard, stopped being exciting, stopped being new? "You're so lucky," Emma continued. "Daniel's great, but he can be such a guy sometimes, you know, like he definitely notices when women are attractive. Marcus is different. He's like, genuinely just focused on you." The word lucky echoed in my head all night, lucky. As if Marcus's faithfulness was a lottery I'd won rather than something I deserved, something I could count on. Lucky implied chance. Luck runs out. That's when I started seriously considering the test. I told myself I just needed proof, just needed to see with my own eyes that he'd reject someone who came onto him. Then I could let go of this anxiety. Then I could be the carefree girlfriend Emma thought I was. I spent 2 weeks thinking about how to do it. I couldn't use a stranger because he might act differently than he would with someone he knew. It had to be someone in his life, someone who would actually be a temptation. Someone whose rejection would mean something. I thought about asking a friend to do it, but that felt too complicated. Too many people involved, too many opportunities for it to get back to him that it was a setup. And then during another group hangout, I watched Daniel's sister Maya flirt with the bartender, and the idea crystallized into something concrete and terrible. Maya was visiting from out of state, staying with Daniel and Emma for a few weeks. She was 26, worked in marketing, and was objectively gorgeous. Long dark hair, perfect skin, the kind of effortless style that comes from actually having money and taste. She was funny, confident, and tactile. The kind of woman who touched people's arms when she talked, who laughed with her whole body. I watched Marcus interact with her that night. He was friendly but appropriate. Normal, but I saw the way he smiled at her jokes, the way he passed her a drink, the way they ended up in the same conversation circle for a while when Emma and I were in the bathroom. When we left that night, I asked casually, "What do you think of Maya?" Marcus shrugged. "She seems cool." "Why?" "Just wondering, she's pretty." He gave me a strange look. "I guess I didn't really think about it. Are you asking if I'm attracted to her?" "No," I said quickly, just making conversation. But I was asking. I was always asking in 100 indirect ways, testing the boundaries of his loyalty with questions disguised as casual interest. "Babe," he said, pulling into my driveway. "I'm not interested in Maya. I'm not interested in anyone but you. I don't know what else I can say to make you believe that." "I believe you," I lied. The thing about lying to someone you love is that it gets easier every time. The first lie is hard, it sticks in your throat, makes your heart race, but the second one comes smoother. By the 10th, you barely notice you're doing it. I've been lying to Marcus for weeks, small lies mostly. "I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. I trust you." Each one building on the last, constructing a version of me that didn't exist. A version that wasn't constantly afraid, constantly waiting for betrayal. The plan formed over the next few days. Maya would be the test. She was perfect for it, attractive enough to be a real temptation, available enough that it wouldn't seem completely random, temporary enough that she'd be gone soon and wouldn't complicate things long term. I just needed to create an opportunity and see what happened. I started by getting closer to Maya myself. I suggested we grab coffee one day, just us girls. She seemed surprised but pleased. We talked about her job, her life back home, her recent breakup. She was actually really nice, which made what I was planning feel even worse, but I pushed that guilt down and told myself this was necessary. You should come to the gym with me and Marcus sometime, I suggested. We go Tuesday and Thursday evenings. It's more fun with a group. She agreed, and the following Tuesday, the three of us met at the gym. I watched them interact, looking for any sign of attraction on either side. Marcus was his normal, friendly self. Maya was tactile like always, touching his shoulder when he gave her advice on her form, laughing at his jokes. Normal behavior that I twisted into evidence in my mind. At the end of the workout, I pretended to get a call from work. Crisis, I said, rolling my eyes. I have to jump on my laptop. You guys go ahead and grab smoothies without me. I'll meet you at home later, babe, Marcus frowned. Are you sure I can wait? No. This'll take at least an hour. Don't let Maya's post-workout smoothie get delayed because of my job. I kissed him quickly and left, then sat in my car in the parking lot waiting, watching. They came out 20 minutes later, laughing about something, and headed to the smoothie place next door. I gave them 10 minutes, then went in and sat where I could see them, but they couldn't easily see me. They looked like they were having a nice time, just friends grabbing smoothies. Nothing inappropriate. Marcus checked his phone a few times, probably looking for my texts. Maya seemed relaxed and happy. I felt ridiculous. What was I even doing, spying on my boyfriend having a normal interaction? This wasn't a test, it was paranoia. But then I thought about my dad, about Jake, about every time I'd been blindsided before. I thought about how normal everything had seemed right before it all fell apart. And I stayed. When I got home that night, Marcus was already there, making dinner in my kitchen like he belonged there. Because he did belong there. He'd become part of my life so seamlessly, filled all the gaps I didn't know I had. How was the work crisis? He asked, kissing my forehead. Fine, handled. How was Maya? Good, she's funny. She was telling me about this disaster date she went on last month. Did she say anything about you? He paused, wooden spoon halfway to his mouth for tasting. About me. What do you mean? I don't know, like did she seem, I don't know, interested? Marcus put the spoon down and turned to face me fully. Okay, what's going on? You've been weird about me being around other women lately. First, the thing with my coworkers' texts, then that random question about the gym girl, now this. Are you okay? This was it. The moment I could have told him the truth. Could have said I'm scared you'll leave, or I'm damaged from past relationships, or I need help working through my trust issues. We could have talked it out, maybe gone to therapy together, dealt with it like adults in a healthy relationship. Instead, I said, I just think Maya might have a crush on you. Emma mentioned something about it. The lie came out so smoothly I almost believed it myself. And I watched it land, watched Marcus's expression shift from concern to awkward flattery to discomfort. Oh, he said, I mean, I haven't noticed anything, and even if she did, it doesn't matter, I'm with you. I know, I said, I'm not worried, just wanted you to be aware in case she tries anything. That night in bed, I felt his arm around me and hated myself. He thought he was comforting me, reassuring me. He had no idea I was setting him up. The real test came the following week. Convinced Emma to have another group hangout, made sure Maya would be there. I spent an hour getting ready, then at the last minute I told Marcus I felt sick. I think it's food poisoning from lunch, I said, bent over the bathroom sink for effect. You should go without me, don't let everyone down just because I feel gross. I'll stay, he said immediately. I don't care about the hangout. No, really, go, I'm just going to sleep anyway. There's no point in both of us missing it. He hesitated and I could see him wavering. This was already working. I was creating a scenario where he'd be around Maya without me there, which was the whole point, but part of me wanted him to insist on staying, to choose me over his friends. If you're sure, he said finally. My heart sank even as I nodded. Totally sure, have fun. After he left, I waited 30 minutes, then got dressed and drove to Daniel and Emma's. I parked down the street where Marcus wouldn't see my car and texted Emma. Hey, feeling a bit better, might stop by later. Don't tell Marcus, want to surprise him. She sent back a smiley face. I sat in my car for another hour scrolling through social media, occasionally checking Emma's Instagram story. She'd posted a video of everyone playing beer pong. Marcus was laughing, talking to Daniel. Maya was on the other team. At 9:30 I texted Maya. We'd exchanged numbers after our coffee date. Hey, Emma told me you're into Marcus. He's a great guy, you should definitely shoot your shot. I watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. What, I'm not into Marcus, he's your boyfriend. It's okay, Emma mentioned it, and honestly things with Marcus and me aren't that serious. We're probably going to break up soon anyway. You should flirt with him tonight, see what happens. This was it. This was the moment I went too far. I could feel it even as I sent the message, feel myself crossing a line I couldn't uncross. But I was committed now. I needed to see what would happen. That's really weird, I'm not going to hit on your boyfriend. Come on, I'm giving you permission. Think of it as a favor. If he's interested, better I find out now, right? The dots appeared and disappeared several times. Finally, I really don't feel comfortable with this. I felt a surge of frustration. She was ruining everything. I needed her to do this. I needed to see what Marcus would do when actually tempted. Please, consider it a test. I just need to know if he's really loyal. You'd be helping me out, and if he rejects you, great, then I know he's trustworthy, but I need to see it. This is really manipulative and weird. I'm going to pretend we didn't have this conversation. She stopped responding after that. I sat in my car, hands shaking, realizing what I'd just done. I'd basically asked someone to hit on my boyfriend as a test, in writing, in a text that she could screenshot and show to anyone. What the hell was wrong with me? I drove home, my earlier fake sickness becoming real nausea. I'd gone way too far. This wasn't protecting myself anymore. This was sabotage. When Marcus got home around 11, I was actually in bed, staring at the ceiling, waiting for my phone to explode with messages from Emma or Daniel or Maya herself exposing what I'd done. Hey you, Marcus said softly, sitting on the edge of the bed. Feeling better? A little, I managed. I missed you tonight. It wasn't as fun without you there. He kissed my forehead and I felt like the worst person in the world. My phone stayed quiet. Maybe Maya really was going to pretend it didn't happen. Maybe I dodged a bullet. I fell into an uneasy sleep, Marcus's arm around me, the weight of what I'd done pressing on my chest. The next morning I woke up to a text from Emma, call me. My stomach dropped. I slipped out of bed, leaving Marcus sleeping, and called her from the bathroom. What the fuck? She said immediately. Maya just showed me your text from last night. Emma, I can explain. You asked her to hit on Marcus as a test. What is wrong with you? I had nothing to say. What could I say? That I was so broken from past betrayals that I needed to manufacture one just to prove I was right to be afraid. Are you going to tell him? I asked quietly. I don't know, I should. This is insane, you know that, right? Marcus is crazy about you. He spent half the night talking about how worried he was that you were sick, and you're setting up tests and traps like he's some kind of criminal. I just needed to know what, that he's not a cheater. He's given you zero reason to think he is. Zero, you know what this is, self-sabotage. You're going to ruin a good thing because you're too scared to believe it's real. She was right. God, she was completely right. And the worst part was I knew it. I'd known it the whole time and done it anyway. Please don't tell him, I said. I'll stop, I'll get help, I'll figure out my issues, just please. She was quiet for a long time. Maya's leaving in 3 days. She's going back home early because this whole situation made her uncomfortable. She doesn't want to be around you or Marcus anymore. So congratulations, you've made everyone uncomfortable and proven nothing except that you need therapy. I know, I'm sorry, tell Maya I'm sorry. Tell her yourself. And get yourself together before you lose him over this. She hung up. I stood in the bathroom looking at myself in the mirror. I looked tired, scared, like someone who'd been waiting for disaster so long she decided to cause it herself rather than keep waiting. Marcus knocked on the door. You okay in there? Yeah, just feeling a little off still. Want me to make you some tea? He was so kind, so patient. Everything I claimed to want and was actively trying to destroy. That would be great, I said. I thought that was the end of it. Maya was leaving, Emma wasn't going to tell, and I'd dodged the consequences of my own terrible decision. I could move forward, maybe actually see my therapist regularly, work on my trust issues like a normal person instead of creating elaborate tests. But I'd forgotten about the screenshots. Maya didn't tell Marcus directly. But she did send the screenshots to Daniel, explaining why she was leaving early, wanting him to understand that it wasn't about him or Emma being bad hosts. And Daniel, being Marcus's best friend, felt like Marcus had a right to know what kind of relationship he was in. 3 days after Maya left, Marcus came over to my place with his spare key and the few items he kept at my apartment in a bag. We need to talk, he said, and I knew. I knew from his voice, from the way he wouldn't look at me, from the bag in his hand. Daniel showed me something today, he continued. Screenshots of a conversation between you and Maya. My whole body went cold. Marcus, you asked her to hit on me, as a test. He finally looked at me, and the hurt in his eyes was worse than any anger could have been. You told her we were probably going to break up anyway and gave her permission to flirt with me just to see what I'd do. I can explain. Explain what? That you trust me so little you had to set up an elaborate test, that you lied about being sick so I'd be around her without you there, that you told someone we're not that serious when I've been falling asleep next to you thinking about our future. I was scared, I said, and the tears started. I was scared you'd leave like everyone else, and I needed to know. Needed to know what, if I'm a good person, if I actually care about you. I've shown you every single day for 6 months how I feel about you. I've been open and honest and faithful, and it wasn't enough. Nothing I did was ever going to be enough because the problem isn't me, it's you. He wasn't yelling, that made it worse, he just sounded tired and sad. You're right, I said. You're completely right, I'm broken and I need help and I'm so sorry. I'll go to therapy, I'll fix this, just please don't leave. I can't be with someone who treats me like a criminal waiting to commit a crime, he said. I can't spend our relationship trying to prove I'm trustworthy enough for you. That's not love, that's a prison sentence. Please, Marcus, I love you. I know I messed up, but I love you. I love you too, he said, and that hurt most of all. But love isn't enough when there's no trust, and you don't trust me. Maybe you can't trust anyone. But I can't live under constant suspicion, waiting for the next test, the next trap. I deserve better than that. He set my key on the counter and walked toward the door. So that's it, I said. You're just giving up. He turned back, and for the first time I saw anger flash across his face. I'm giving up. I spent 6 months showing up for you, being patient with your insecurities, reassuring you, proving myself. You spent those same 6 months looking for evidence that I'm like the guys who hurt you before. You created a self-fulfilling prophecy. You wanted proof that everyone leaves? Well, congratulations, you manufactured it. The door closed behind him and I stood in my apartment, surrounded by evidence of our relationship. His toothbrush still in my bathroom, his coffee mug in my sink, a sweatshirt on my couch, all the pieces of a life we'd been building that I'd demolished with my own hands. I called him that night. He didn't answer. I texted him an apology. He read it but didn't respond. I sent another one the next day and the next. Emma told me to give him space, that I'd done enough damage. Daniel wouldn't talk to me at all. I'd lost not just Marcus but the whole friend group we'd built together. Everyone online thought I was fine, but privately I was falling apart. I'd post pictures from brunch with work friends, like everything was normal, while inside I was screaming. I'd see Marcus's name pop up on mutual friends' Instagram stories and spend hours analyzing every frame, looking for evidence of how he was doing without me. My therapist, when I finally went back, said what I'd done was a trauma response. That people who have been betrayed often create tests to feel like they have control over their relationships. That it's a way of trying to protect yourself by controlling when the hurt happens instead of being blindsided. But knowing the psychology behind it didn't fix what I'd broken. It just gave me new vocabulary for the same old wounds. I thought about Marcus constantly. Wondered if he was dating anyone new. Wondered if he thought about me. Wondered if there was any universe where I could undo what I'd done. Just when I thought I was starting to accept that it was really over, that I'd really lost him for good, I saw him at a coffee shop. Our coffee shop, the one from our first date. He was with a woman, tall, blonde, laughing at something he'd said. She touched his arm the way people do when they're interested, when they're in that early stage where every touch is deliberate and charged with possibility. He saw me standing there, frozen by the counter, and his expression went completely blank. Not angry. Not hurt, just nothing, like I was a stranger, someone he used to know. The barista called my name for my order and I grabbed it and left without saying anything. What could I say? Sorry I destroyed us because I couldn't believe you were real. In my car, I checked my phone obsessively, hoping for a text, something, anything. Even anger would be better than nothing. But there was nothing. The silence was absolute. He'd blocked me on social media weeks ago, but I'd held out hope that maybe eventually he'd reach out. That time would soften what I'd done. That he'd miss me enough to forgive me. Seeing him with someone else shattered that fantasy. He'd moved on. I was just a story he'd tell his new girlfriend eventually, the crazy ex who tested him and lost. I drove to the beach and sat in my car, watching the waves and thinking about how I'd done exactly what I'd been afraid of. I'd guaranteed the ending I'd been trying to prevent. My dad left, so I learned that men leave. Jake cheated, so I learned that men cheat. And Marcus was faithful and kind and everything I'd wanted, so I created a scenario that would prove he wasn't. Because if he wasn't real, if he was secretly just like the others, then losing him wouldn't hurt as much. If I controlled when and how he left, I wouldn't be blindsided. Except it hurt more. It hurt infinitely more because I couldn't even blame him. I couldn't be the victim in this story. I was the villain in my own life, the person who ruined everything good because being hurt by someone else's choices felt safer than risking real vulnerability. That night I broke my promise to myself and looked at his Instagram from a fake account. He'd unblocked his profile since we'd broken up. There were pictures from a hiking trip. One with Daniel and Emma, all of them smiling. One with his family, none with the blonde woman from the coffee shop, but that didn't mean anything. It was probably too new to be public yet. His smile looked the same, he looked happy, he looked fine. I wasn't fine. I was stuck in the wreckage of what I'd destroyed, scrolling through pictures of someone who'd moved on while I was still trying to figure out how to live with what I'd done. Emma texted me a few weeks after I saw him at the coffee shop. Been in limited contact since everything happened. Marcus is seeing someone, thought you should hear it from me instead of through the grapevine. I know, I typed back. I saw them together. How are you doing? The question felt loaded. How was I doing? I was a mess. I was drowning in regret and self-loathing and the knowledge that I'd thrown away the best relationship I'd ever had because I was too broken to accept it. I'm okay, I lied. You know, he asked about you the other day, asked how you were doing. My heart jumped. What did you say? I said you were working on yourself, going to therapy. He just nodded. I think he still cares about you, but caring about someone and being able to be with them are different things. I know. Do you? Because I've watched you self-destruct for months now. And I know you're hurting, but at some point you have to decide if you're going to learn from this or just use it as more evidence that you're unlovable. The words hit hard because they were true. I'd been using this whole disaster as confirmation of what I'd always believed, that I was too damaged for real love, that I'd always find a way to ruin it. I don't know how to fix this, I admitted. You can't fix it with Marcus, that ship sailed, but you can fix it with yourself. You can do the work so the next person doesn't have to pay for what the last ones did. After we hung up, I sat with that for a long time. The next person. The idea that there could be someone after Marcus felt impossible. But Emma was right. I couldn't undo what I'd done, but I could decide what it meant going forward. I started seeing my therapist twice a week. We talked about my dad, about Jake, about every relationship that had taught me that love was conditional and temporary. We talked about how I developed hypervigilance as a protection mechanism and how it had become the thing that hurt me most. She gave me exercises for sitting with discomfort instead of trying to control outcomes, ways to recognize when I was creating problems instead of responding to real ones, tools for building trust incrementally instead of demanding proof. It was hard, really hard, because none of it brought Marcus back. I was doing all this work, becoming the person I should have been when I had him, and he was out there with someone else. Someone who got the benefit of all the lessons I'd learned too late. I tortured myself with thoughts of her. Did she have trust issues? Was she secure and easy to love? Did Marcus tell her about me, about the crazy ex who tested him? 3 months after we broke up, I saw Daniel at the grocery store. He looked uncomfortable when he spotted me, but he didn't avoid me. Hey, he said, how are you? I'm okay, you? Good. He shifted his weight. Listen, I know things ended badly, but for what it's worth, Emma says you're really working on yourself. That's good. Thanks, how's Marcus? The question came out before I could stop it. Daniel grimaced. He's good, happy, he's pretty serious with Claire. Claire, now she had a name, that made it worse somehow. That's good, I managed. He deserves to be happy. He does, but so do you, you know, what you did was messed up, but we've all done messed up things when we're hurting. It was the kindest thing anyone had said to me in months, and I almost cried right there in the produce section. Does he ever talk about me? I asked, even though I knew I shouldn't. Daniel hesitated. Sometimes. He said he hopes you're doing better, that he doesn't hate you or anything. But he also said what you guys had is in the past and he's moved on. There it was. The final confirmation. He'd moved on. The door I'd been hoping might crack open someday was sealed shut. Thanks for being honest, I said. After he left, I stood there holding a bunch of bananas, crying quietly while other shoppers pretended not to notice. It's been 3 months since that conversation. 6 months since Marcus left, half a year of living with the consequences of my own choices. I still think about him every day. I still check his Instagram from fake accounts sometimes, even though I know I shouldn't. I see pictures of him and Claire hiking at concerts, doing all the things we used to do together. She seems nice. Uncomplicated. The kind of person who probably doesn't need to test the people she loves. My therapist says I'm making progress, that I've developed better coping mechanisms, that I'm learning to sit with uncertainty instead of trying to control it. But progress feels hollow when the person I wanted to be better for is gone. Emma and I meet for coffee occasionally. She doesn't mention Marcus unless I ask, which I try not to do. We talk about work, about her life, about my therapy. She's forgiven me for the disaster I created, but things aren't the same. There's a wariness now, a distance that wasn't there before. I went on a date a few weeks ago. A guy from work asked me to dinner and I said yes because my therapist said I should try when I felt ready. His name was Tom and he was perfectly nice. Funny, interesting, kind, but the whole time I kept comparing him to Marcus. The way he laughed wasn't right. His hand on mine felt wrong. When he texted me the next day asking for a second date, I stared at the message for an hour before responding. My immediate instinct was to look for red flags, to start the same pattern of hypervigilance and suspicion, to protect myself from being hurt by assuming the worst. But then I stopped. I recognized the pattern, and instead of acting on it, I just sat with the feeling until it passed. I went on the second date, then a third. Tom still isn't Marcus, but that's okay. Marcus is with someone else, living his life, happy without me in it. And I'm here learning how to be in a relationship without destroying it from the inside out. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd never sent those texts to Maya. If I just told Marcus I was scared instead of testing him. If I'd chosen therapy over sabotage, we'd probably still be together. He'd probably still look at me the way he used to, like I was everything he wanted. We'd probably be talking about moving in together, meeting each other's extended families, planning a future. Instead, he's doing all those things with Claire, and I'm starting over with someone new, carrying the weight of lessons learned too late. The worst part isn't that I lost him. The worst part is that I was right in a twisted way. Everyone does leave eventually. But they don't leave because they find someone better or get bored or cheat. Sometimes they leave because you give them no choice. Because you make it impossible to stay. I tested Marcus's loyalty and he passed. He was exactly who he said he was, faithful, honest, committed, and I still lost him because the test itself was the betrayal. Now he won't even look at me anymore. When we end up at the same social events through mutual friends, he's polite but distant. His eyes slide past me like I'm furniture, something to navigate around but not engage with. The woman I saw in his arms at that coffee shop is now regular in his Instagram photos, smiling in ways I used to smile. I tell people I'm fine. I post pictures of my new life, my dates with Tom, my therapy progress. Everyone online thinks I've moved on, that I'm thriving. But here's what I've never told anyone. What makes me wake up at 3 in the morning with tears on my face? I don't know if I tested Marcus because I didn't trust him, or because I didn't trust myself. Because some part of me knew I'd eventually sabotage something that good, and I wanted to control when and how it happened. Either way, I got exactly what I was looking for. I proved that relationships end, that people leave, that nothing good lasts. I just had to destroy the best thing in my life to confirm it. And now I have to figure out how to live with the fact that I was the villain in my own story. That the person who hurt me most wasn't my dad or Jake or any of the men who came before Marcus. It was me. It was always me. I'm telling you this now because Tom asked me to be his girlfriend last night and my first instinct was to say no, to run, to find some way to test him before I commit, because that's what I do, that's who I've been. But I said yes, even though I'm terrified, even though every part of me wants to protect myself by keeping him at a distance. Even though I know I could lose him the same way I lost Marcus if I'm not careful. I said yes because the alternative is letting my fear win forever. Is proving that I learned nothing from destroying the best relationship I ever had. I don't know if it'll work out with Tom. I don't know if I'm actually better or just better at hiding my damage. I don't know if Marcus ever thinks about me, or if I'm just a cautionary tale he tells Claire about his crazy ex. What I do know is that somewhere in the city, Marcus is living his life without me in it. And I have to find a way to live mine knowing that I had exactly what I wanted and threw it away because I was too scared to believe it was real. That's my confession. I tested him by flirting with his friend. I manufactured a betrayal to protect myself from a real one. And now he won't even look at me anymore because I gave him every reason not to. I was right to be afraid. People do leave. I just never imagined I'd be the one to drive them away.